Firestone Firehawk is brought to you by Firestone, the official sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team.
All right. Welcome to the 7th season of the Firestone Firehawk Endurance Series. Today from Sebring, it's the season opener for the Sports and Touring Division. Hello everyone, I'm Bill Weber along with reigning GTO champion Dorsey Schrader. And today, the Sports and Touring Division hits this 3.7-mile track. Now Dorsey, you had 9 career victories in Firehawk. That's tied for 6th on the all-time list. Tell us a little bit about the series and what we can expect to see today.
I think in Firestone Firehawk racing, you're seeing real, true professional grassroots racing. This is a series where people come from driving schools. They come to me and say, where do I go? How do I get into professional racing? I say Firestone Firehawk racing. It's an endurance series, so you get a lot of time behind the wheel, tight competition amongst many makes of cars. It's really good racing.
And 2 of the enticing elements of the Firestone Firehawk series are the endurance aspect. This is a 4-hour race today, and of course, it's a huge field. We have a lot coming up for you in this half hour. Here's a look ahead.
Coming up on Firehawk, Willie Lewis has brought 4 new friends to the Firehawk circuit, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A winner with the kids and hoping to be a winner on the track.
If you're stargazing this summer, Saturn should be easy to spot. David Rosenblum and Peter Farrell debuted the new ride at Sebring, hoping for an out-of-this-world performance.
Nearly 70 strong lined up for the Sports and Touring season opener. We'll have the highlights coming up on Firehawk.
Welcome back to Firehawk. Now, there are some new faces on the Firehawk circuit this season and some returning faces. And one of the drivers coming back this season is P.J. Jones. Dorsey, tell us a little bit about him.
Well, P.J. is one of these new drivers coming up nowadays that is showing the world he can drive any kind of race car. He's been in midgets. He's been in the Indy Lights series. You've seen him there. You've seen him on Saturday Night Thunder. You've seen him all over the country. Now he's in a Firestone Firehawk car. To drive one of these cars quickly, you have to drive it very smoothly. You have to calculate what you're doing, and he's showing that he can do this job.
And he'll be driving in the sports division in today's race. Now, in addition to some new drivers this season, there are some new sponsors on the Firehawk circuit, and Dan Kenyon has one such story.
Bill and Dorsey, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have logged a lot of miles over the last few years, and this summer they're spending their season with Willie Lewis and friends on the Firehawk circuit. In 1990, the art cars were 2 of the most familiar competitors on the Firehawk circuit. Their unique appearance made them easy to find and a favorite with the fans. Willie Lewis and his co-drivers return in 1991 with what is certain to be another fan favorite. They're in a new shell, a turtle shell. You've seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in movies, cartoons, they're everywhere. And now, thanks to Lewis and Turtle creator Kevin Eastman, the green reptiles can be spotted on the racetrack.
Well, myself being a Maine native, Kevin Eastman just happens to come from Maine. I heard a few through the grapevine that Kevin was involved with vintage cars and he was interested in racing. We talked, we got together at Watkins Glen last year, and immediately he just responded and said, geez, it would be really nice if we could put together some ninja stuff on a car. And the beauty of this whole operation is, and also by luck, a 4-car team came together, the 4 characters, it was just a natural.
Lewis and Company cloned the cars. 4 Ford Tauruses, blue, purple, orange, and red. But each car has its own turtle trademark. Turtle Mania is big, triumphing over evil and winning over new fans.
Well, I don't have children myself, but after meeting Kevin and seeing the enthusiasm that he's put forth, it's a very contagious disease to catch, and it's fun.
This team pays close attention to detail. The driver uniforms have the characters on the back, and each helmet bears a striking resemblance to the Turtles.
That was another thing. Kevin was at Watkins Glen last year, and the first thing he said to me, he says, geez, it'd be neat if you could see 4 turtles out there driving. Immediately the helmets came to mind, and that was just a matter of a little creativity with an artist.
One of the best feelings of having these hip turtles everywhere is the enthusiastic reaction from children. After all, to them, these guys are national heroes.
Oh, yeah, and it's amazing that the kids come up to you and they say, well, where's Leonardo? Where's Michelangelo? They just are really involved, and they're having a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about.
After all the cars were completed, there was one small problem. 4 Ninja Turtles, 4 Tauruses, but 8 drivers. Sure, each driver has his favorite turtle, but come race day, it is truly a team effort.
We've got 8 drivers. The 4 cars really, as soon as we get them fully sorted out, they should be all equal. And right now, it's just a matter of getting into things and going for it. We've got our starting drivers and our finishing drivers, but which car, which driver, right now, the whole thing is a team, and we just want to win, period.
In race competition, the Taurus could be considered the turtle in the sports division. It is not nearly as swift as some of its peers, but instead relies on fuel mileage and fuel capacity, plus the patience of its pilot to be successful in this endurance series. But hopes are high for these heroes on the half-shell on a mission to emerge as a winner on the Firehawk circuit.
We're real happy with the cars. Ford has given us a lot of help. The research and the technical department have sort of opened their doors, so to speak. We've got some real good sponsorship with Monroe. And the whole Gary Blackman group has come on board with us. Of course, they've been with Ford for some time, so it just makes a wonderful marriage.
Well, one of the favorite teams, certainly amongst the children anyway, is going to be the team of the Ninja Turtles.
I think you're right, Dorsey. And coming up, we'll see the Turtles and the rest of the sports and touring division in action. It's a 4-hour race here at Sebring.
The momentum of competition in today's business world is grueling and fast-paced. Top performance demands fine-tuning, precision, and a commitment to excellence. NAPCO, the performance paper company, offers you all of this and much more. Take control of your business and accelerate into the lead by calling NAPCO for all of your paper and related supplies. NAPCO and you, a winning combination.
Welcome back to Firestone Firehawk. Now, the Sebring track has been redesigned for 1991. It's 3.7 miles this year. Dorsey, you took us around the track. You gave us a look at the new surface. What's been the reaction from some of the drivers?
I think all the drivers are unanimous. This is a much better Sebring circuit than we've had in the past. A lot more corners than we've had, a little slower speed, an emphasis on heavy braking, but I think all the guys like this circuit.
And tighter competition?
No question about tighter competition. The tight corners are going to keep them in line with each other, and it's going to be a tough one.
There are a lot of cars ready to go for a 4-hour sports and touring division event. Let's go down to the track. Here's Dan Kenyon.
One driver that's got a really good view of this track is last year's sports division champion, Joe Pezza. Joe, what are your thoughts going into this 91 season?
There's going to be a lot of stiff competition out there. Once again, Paul Rossi and the Eagle Talons are really a strong car, but this series is getting better and stronger every year with much better quality drivers, and it's going to be a very interesting year with a lot of tough competition.
Well, as Pezza prepared to defend his title, the Toyota team was the talk of the track. P.J. Jones put the new MR2 on the pole with a record-setting qualifying run. Veteran teams were ready to challenge. The Hacker Castro Oldsmobiles were lined up second and fourth, while Paul Rossi Team Talons were poised to pursue from third and fifth. Buddy Norton had the top car in touring. His Calais qualified 10th with a record run in his class. The 64-car field carefully worked their way through the early laps on the new 3.7-mile course. The first hour of the event was slowed by 2 lengthy caution periods. In the sports division, the muscle of the MR2 was apparent from the opening lap. Jones set the pace in the 68 car, while the twin 67 of Dennis Ossie and Chip Hanauer came charging through the field, starting 11th and settling into second behind Jones after just 10 laps. Toyota led the first 41 laps, and the 68 car of Ford and P.J. Jones led all but 4 of those. The Firehawk Series is divided into 3 classes based on relative performance. The sports division includes the Toyota MR2, the Oldsmobile Quad 442, the Eagle Talon, and the Ford Taurus. The cars are all street stock with safety modifications and compete on high-performance off-the-shelf Firestone tires that are shaved to a racing depth. The Hacker brothers are a perennial contender in the sports division. The 00 Olds running third to the 2 Toyotas after 10 laps and zipping into second place 30 laps into the race. It's a new look to the new season for this team, and Dorsey paid a visit to the Hacker pit.
The Hacker Express has been running for a long time, but new cars, new sponsor, you got Oldsmobile and Castro GTX, a lot of complaints from the teams around here. They don't like this car. It looks strong to us. How do you think you're going to fare in this deal?
Well, I'm not sure what their complaints are based on because we only go as fast as they do. But, you know, it's a matter of a little bit of pit strategy, a little bit of getting the cars to handle. I know Paul Rossi's been complaining, but he wasn't here to practice. He came in real late, you know. I mean, if he wants his cars to go, he's got to put some practice time in on the tracks he's going to race on. Give the guys a chance.
In 1990, Paul Rossi's fleet of energetic Eagles were flying high, winning the Sports Division Manufacturers Championship and carrying Pezza to the driver's title. Rossi's racing rivals always have an eye on the Eagles, and in this race, the 1-2 punch featured the 15 and 22 Talons, running 10 to behind Ford and the Hackers after 111 miles. But as the day went on, reporter Lauren Zudi and Terry Earwood, sharing the driving duties in the 15 car, fell 2 laps back or were not a factor, finishing 12th. That left the chase to teammates Garth Ullum and Pezza, Rossi's talented twosome that won 4 straight races in the 1990 March to the championship. But this year, the competition is stronger than ever.
What's the change this year over the years in the past?
Well, we've got some special cars out there. We've got a show Taurus that's kind of come up from the back, it looks like, with one fuel stop, and it's going to make the whole distance. So that's a sleeper, and that's a car that we really haven't had as a factor before. The Oldsmobiles, it looks like, are putting out a little more horsepower. They got a new model, a W41, and those cars are kind of getting shuffled out in the deck here, and we're going to see how that works out. We need another fuel stop, and if the cautions are just right, we should be there at the end.
The Toyota of Ford and Jones surrendered the lead on lap 42. The mandatory driver change and a fresh load of fuel put the Toyota back on the track and chasing the 0-0 of Paul and Carl Hacker. The Toyota recaptured the lead on lap 45, and with the exception of a one-lap cameo appearance on the point by Ullum and Pezza, led the rest of the way. The only flaw was a mechanical glitch that forced this team to park the sister 67 car 58 laps into the race. This crew is confident their car will be a strong performer all season long.
I think that they're going to be a very, very reliable piece. From what I've seen out here, I think that probably these cars are closer to what you drive off the showroom floor than most of them are that have been run for 2-3 years out here, because they get deburred on a daily basis. But you know, we started off the weekend a little bumpy, and this is our first big deal running 2 cars out here, and I think we're running pretty well right now.
Those Ford Turtle cars are an impressive and intriguing sight, snaking their way around Sebring in a pack. While the Toyota was teasing the talent in sports, the battle in touring was tight. Mark Kent and Peter Farrell started 8th in the class and showed off their new Valvoline Saturn in the season opener by promptly passing the parade, and the Kent-Farrell combination had the lead by lap 20. The touring division includes the Saturn Coupe, the Honda CRX SI, the Volkswagen GTI, and the Olds Calais. The Saturn team felt a strong challenge from the Copper Kettle Hondas. Lance Stewart and Peter Cunningham in the 87, and Sandy Satullo and John Green in the 78 ran in the top 3, chasing the Saturn. The Honda of Bill Artsberger and Dan Hillenbrand started 13th in touring, carefully maneuvered through the pack. By lap 30, it climbed to 3rd, and just over 2 hours into the race, the 44 Saturn lost its grip on the group, and the Artsberger Honda was the touring leader. During the second half of the 4-hour race, Artsberger and Hillenbrand were clearly the car to catch. Chasing the leaders for the last 30 laps were Stewart and Cunningham, Peter Schwartzad and Randy Popes in the TC Klein Honda, along with Bill Pate and Alistair Ogue in a Volkswagen. As evening settled in, the field sorted out. In sports, the 0-0 Castrol Oldsmobile closed in on the Toyota, but could not catch up. Ford and Jones combined to christen the 1991 season with a strong performance, leading 69 of 77 laps and edging the Hackers by 2.272 seconds, the 6th closest finish in Firehawk history. In touring, the Artsberger Honda held on for the win. Peyton Ogue finished 2nd, and Satullo and Green were 3rd. Stewart and Cunningham had a good day, but a bad night. Following the race, their car was disqualified due to engine modification.
The car was just running beautifully. It had not degraded at all. PJ turned over a really fantastic car to me. Everything worked on the car perfectly. And so we just went about our business of racing. And, you know, we had a game plan, and we stuck to that game plan, and it paid off for us.
Well, the car was working great. The Toyota MR2, it was flawless in the first 2 hours. The biggest thing is we hit the yellows right. We had control of the race, and we could position our fuel stops with the yellows, and I think that's what made the race for us.
Of course, we didn't qualify well on Wednesday. Crew worked night and day to make the car right. They promised me the car was going to work when I got in. I said, okay. I went out there and just drove as hard as I could drive. Burned the tires off of it and the brakes and everything. We knew we had to run hard and fast.
Any close calls for you today?
Oh, you always have a lot of close calls in Firehawk. If you leave the pit lane, you have close calls. But it was never a break. It was tough racing all the way to the end. If you let up 1 second, you know, there's an opportunity for somebody to bump you off the racetrack. So we had to drive hard the entire race, and that's what we did. And we got there to the checkered flag.
So Toyota debuts in grand style with a win in the sports division, and for a former student of yours, Dan Hillenbrand, a big win in touring.
Yeah, and that's what this series is really all about. For Dan, his first professional win. From here, his career can turn upward. Hopefully it will. That's what Firestone Firehawk Racing is all about.
The sports and touring divisions are underway. Grand sports races next week at Sebring. But coming up this week, a look at one of the new manufacturers on the Firehawk circuit.
Next week on Firehawk, tough tires meet the test in this demanding endurance series. We'll show you how Firestone gets a lot of miles out of a little weekend driving.
Bruce Jenner is the well-known and well-liked Olympic decathlon champion. Now he's in a marathon, the Firehawk Endurance Championship. We'll talk to him.
And Porsche tries to make it 2 in a row in Grand Sports as the 50-car field takes the green at Sebring next week on Firehawk.
Don't forget to be with us next week here on TNN when the Grand Sports Division hits the 3.7-mile track at Sebring. Now, the Firestone Firehawk Endurance Series offers the fans a chance to see plenty of racing, gives the drivers an excellent opportunity to get some behind-the-wheel experience, and Dorsey, it also offers the manufacturer a chance to do a lot of research and development on their car.
You're absolutely right about that. In the years I drove in the Firestone Firehawk, I actually saw things that we learned on the racetrack transpire into things that happened on the assembly line. It makes the cars safer in the future for the people buying them.
And one of the new cars you'll see in 1991 is the Saturn, and Dan Kenyon has that story.
There's a new kid in town running races on the Firehawk circuit this year. It's the Saturn. You've probably heard about the car, but now you'll see the Saturn doing revolutions from Sebring to California. The Saturn Corporation has teamed up with Dave Rosenblum and Peter Farrell and the Intercity Youth Racing Team.
We like the message that Dave gives. We think he has a good team, and we think he's doing a lot to help society and help kids, which is sort of what Saturn is about, too, about people. And as I say, the tire choice was right.
Not only was the tire choice right, but the Firehawk Series was the perfect place to prove their new sports car.
We wanted to go Firehawk racing because Firestone is our sole tire supplier for road tires, so we know a little bit about them. This is really sponsored through one of our dealers, Saturn of Denville, and we picked what we thought was the best team to run with.
Saturn would like to see their car in a starring role on the Firehawk circuit. Fowler and friends are counting on the close competition to bring rave reviews.
We got some publicity, and we get to show how good our car is. In the whole Saturn story, I think probably not much has been said about the product. And when you look at our Sport Coupe, it is a very fun to drive, very much enthusiast-oriented car, and I think we hope to show this in this series.
Peter Farrell is a 4-year veteran of the Firehawk Series, collecting 20 top 10 finishes. Now he's teamed up with Rosenblum and Saturn, and he believes the combination is ready to cash in.
Well, I was very excited to find out that we're going to be racing the Saturn this year. We tested a brand new bone stock pre-production car at a track late last year, and I was thrilled with the way the stock car went. I knew with some hard work and some more testing and development we could make a race-winning car here, and with the way things have gone this week, I'm confident that we're going to have a very competitive season with these cars.
Things have run smoothly for the race team and the Saturn Corporation. Now together they form a solid partnership that will get even stronger with time.
I believe all parties here are going to benefit well. You know, IC Racing, Valvoline race team is a very strong team. We've got good support, very valuable help from the ICY kids that come along to the races with us. Dave Rosenblum has pulled a really strong organization together here. Plus we've got two full-time guys that are excellent crew people, Dan Scott and Paul Boer, and myself. We work for 6 weeks, 7 days a week to get the cars to this stage. So very pleased with how it's gone at this point.
The Saturn has grabbed its share of preseason publicity. Now, as the racing season gets underway, you can expect a lot of stargazing on the Firehawk circuit.
Driving a new car is always a surprise. All the other competitors are very interested to see what this new Saturn can do. It's had a lot of rave reviews in the press over the last few months, and most people haven't seen the car themselves yet. And I'm excited to show a new product and go out and show it so well at this point.
So the Saturn people have a good team behind them, and Dorsey, they'll be able to learn a lot in the Firehawk series.
Yeah, they will, because 100 miles on that racetrack's about like 100,000 miles on the street.
Now, next week, the Grand Sports Division will take to the track at Sebring. We'll have that for you. Give us a little preview of that action, Dorsey.
Well, there's your classic confrontation. Big bore V8 against a lightweight 4-valve 4-cylinder. Good drivers. Joe Vardy's been winning that series for the last 4 or 5 years, but he's got tough competition this time.
We'll have all the action from Sebring next week, so you be sure and join us on Firehawk, and don't forget every Sunday to watch us on Inside Winston Cup Racing. We'll see you next week here on TNN.
Firestone Firehawk has been brought to you by Firestone, the official sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team.
Communications for Firehawk provided by Racing Radios, Forest Park, Georgia. Racing Radios, the official communications of IMSA.